News when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Nathan Hager.
And I'm Karen Moscow.
Karen, we begin with the latest from the Middle East. The U.S. has completed a fourth straight night of attacks against Iran. President Trump says the strikes will continue until he says it's enough.
We're going to hit them very hard tonight. We're going to hit them very hard tomorrow night. We're going to hit them very hard the night after. And then next week it gets really bad for them because next week comes the power plants. Next week comes the bridges.
That was President Trump in an interview on Fox News. We get more from Bloomberg Middle East correspondent Abir Abu Omar in Dubai.
The United States has been attacking Iran over the past few days consecutively every single night. The latest round of strikes happened in the early hours of this morning, or was finalized in the early hours of this morning here in the Middle East. 7 hours of waves of attacks on some weapon launchers, some military targets. President Trump, as you just heard, saying that next week the U.S. will start hitting bridges, some infrastructure in Iran as well. So threats that have been made before.
And Bloomberg's Abir Abu Omar reports these latest attacks came after President Trump backed off plans for a 20% charge on cargo shipments through the Strait of Hormuz. That's after allies in the Gulf urged him to drop it. The president says the fee will be replaced by direct investment by Gulf allies. He did not specify a dollar amount or which countries would be taking part.
Nathan, let's get the latest now on an incident that sparked protests near Portland, Maine. The ICE-involved shooting of a driver in the town of Biddeford. It is the second time this week that ICE has used deadly force and at least the 9th death since President Trump began his immigration crackdown. Protesters held a rally outside an ICE facility in Scarborough, Maine yesterday. Community activist Todd Cretion addressed the crowd.
Yesterday morning, they executed Johann Sebastian Guerrero in the streets of Biddeford in front of his 3-year-old daughter. We knew that was going to happen, but it doesn't change the fact that it breaks our hearts.
Activist Todd Cretion, White House border czar Tom Homan says the investigation into Guerrero's death still needs to play out.
Where it lands, it lands. If officers acted inappropriately or illegally, they'd be held accountable, just like they were in Minnesota.
And border czar Tom Homan, the Department of Homeland Security has said the ICE agent opened fire, fearing for public safety, after the driver tried to flee a traffic stop. DHS has ordered a temporary pause on vehicle stops to give agents more training.
Well, back in Washington, Karen, Acting Attorney General Todd Blanche is set to appear before the Senate for his confirmation hearing to become the Justice Department's permanent leader. It comes just days after a federal judge in Miami blasted Blanche for his role in settling President Trump's $10 billion lawsuit against the IRS. Ted Lieu is vice chair of the House Democratic Caucus.
A federal judge said that the Trump administration basically sued itself and engaged in collusion, and that this whole scheme was concocted by Department of Justice attorneys. The judge voided the $1.8 billion January 6th slush fund and referred their attorneys to disciplinary proceedings with the state bars.
As House Democrat Ted Lieu, 3 key Republicans on the Senate Judiciary Committee have said they are undecided on Blanche: John Kennedy, John Cornyn, and Tom Tillis. Just one no vote could be enough to kill Blanche's nomination.
We turn to the economy now, Nathan, where Kevin Warsh returns to Capitol Hill to wrap up his congressional testimony. Yesterday, the Fed chair said policymakers have no tolerance for high inflation and share a commitment to restoring price stability. Warsh testified following the release of the cooler-than-expected CPI report.
There might be some that look at this morning's data and say, oh, mission accomplished, everything is swell. That is not my view.
Fed Chair Kevin Warsh testifies before the Senate Banking Committee today, and you can catch the Q&A live later this morning starting at 10 a.m. Wall Street time here on Bloomberg Radio and the Bloomberg Business app.
And ahead of that Warsh testimony, Karen, we get another key reading on inflation. The Producer Price Index for the month of June comes out this morning at 8:30 Wall Street time, and we get a preview from Bloomberg's Charlie Pellet.
The PPI report measures inflation at the wholesale level, and it comes after consumer prices came in softer than expected, taking some pressure off of the Fed to raise rates. David Kelly is Chief Global Strategist at J.P. Morgan Asset Management.
I think inflation's on the right track here. It's coming down. I think it will be just a little over 3% by December. I think it will be down at 2% year over year by next May. I don't think the Fed should do anything.
Bloomberg Economics is expecting lower energy prices down 7% 1% to offset strong gains in core goods and services. In New York, Charlie Pellet, Bloomberg Radio.
And that's news when you want it with Bloomberg News Now. I'm Karen Moscow.
I'm Nathan Hager, and this is Bloomberg.